All right, and to unpack that for us, we are now joined by Professor Kholofelo Rakubu. She is from the Tshwane University of Technology, the Safety and Security Department and Management, and she joins us via our Zoom link. Khulu, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. Let's start here. What do you make so far of those crime stats coming out from Godfrey Lebeya?
Thank you for having me, and good evening to the listeners. To the viewers, we must just recognize the achievements. Although we're saying a lot could have been done, we must also take into consideration and question the reports regarding number of arrests and number of convictions. We analyzing if they arrested 701 and convictions or sentences is 284, then we tap into 417 and question what could have happened there. Are those discharged, acquitted, or pending, or struck off, or lack of new information still required, or what is happening then? Because if now 417 is hanging and there's no indication or clarification next to it, what will be in the next quarter? And we also acknowledge that now the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation has been drawn into what we call political squabbles, what we call political fractions. It has so much responsibility now besides the level of generic organized crime or level of crime in South Africa. It is drawn into more other sophisticated, highly implicating cases. However, we're saying with the challenges that have been previously outlined, your organizational structure, lack of resources and all that, but still we see at least some sort of improvement. So we just also curious to check if other long-standing issues with resources, training, underperforming officers or corrupt officers, have those been attended to, because those have serious implication on the success rate. And now when we hear a bit of a success, we want to also hear if now they manage to tighten the loop, so everybody is in order with regard to issues that we've raised before, issues of the division of labor, issues of partnership and all that. So it looks like they are coming all right. However, now reporting on the highly publicized case where now the findings unsubstantiated, we now saying what a wasteful expenditure. Could this be one of those political squabble or political influence, or what is it? Because the energy and the resources that were put into that could have been utilized to deal with a serious syndicate, because as South Africa, we're struggling to find the kingpins. We've been chasing the runners, but look at the effort, have been shifted away to look at political squabbles or fractions and avoided what we were supposed to be focusing on.
And Professor, I was actually going to come to those notable cases, one in particular actually involving the president, and you are saying that, well, some of them seems to be more politically inclined, but one would ask that, I mean, a number of South Africans have been wanting answers, quite in particular to the Phala Farm scandal, and we know that the president has been saying that, those investigations continue, and, coming out from today, we have now heard that that process is ongoing. Were you surprised at all that we have not seen a finality yet into this matter, even though the president keeps on saying that let's wait for processes, to conclude, especially pertaining to those dollars?
They're saying processes should continue, and the report is that matters now is with the NPA to take a decision. That is so much pressure, because at the end of the day, we should hear of what was the finding. It cannot be left hanging. Come the next quarter, come the next reporting, at some point, it should be finalized, and that could be a turning point in the organization, because now you have to take unfavorable decision. And by the way it looks, South African have interest, yes. And with that interest, we're not going to take anything lightly. We would want to be informed of all the processes, particularly the decision, particularly activities around the case, because we want to know what really happened and finalization of it, or if not finalized, what is the problem? What are challenges? What information is lacking? It cannot be allowed to drag for years. We can't afford another wasteful expenditure. And soon, the head should make sure that we get feedback with regard to that particular case. We're interested in that because a lot of focus has been shifted. So resources have been diverted, which was unnecessary. In this case, it was really unnecessary. That could have been avoided. As South Africa, with the financial situation or socio-economic conditions, we're not in a condition to be dealing with cases involving the president, because that is also, you're taking away from South Africans that really need the services to do something, to get certain crimes investigated, not what now the head has to report on.
All right, and coming to another problem that rocked South Africans is, of course, around the COVID-19 PPE corruption, and we've seen an update there that at least 49 of those cases, we've seen convictions from a total of 52. Are you impressed, by the outcomes of that matter? Like I say, it's one of those cases that South Africans were closely monitoring.
There, I'm impressed. Though would want to see 100%, 99%, and so forth. But we really happy, and that's set the precedent that something has been done. Although we're still wondering and questioning a lot of things, but in that line, the very same effort there can be adopted in other areas and closed cases, so that the reporting should not even be left with 2%. It should at some point be, we are done, this is the result, not that we dealt with 40, this is remaining. No, it still doesn't make sense. We need that everything be cleared at some point.
And pertaining to, state capture cases, I mean, Godfrey Lebeya has told us that at least they have dealt with so far 5 cases. Do you trust that more cases will now be pursued? I mean, there's been a lot of criticism saying that some of these cases, we'd never see them until the end. Do you trust that this time around that, we can finally see some of these matters actually seeing any convictions being done in those matters?
With the state capture, I'm highly skeptical there, because of the sensitivity of institutions involved, and how the state capture itself took time, and the planning around it, the reporting and all that. I'm very skeptical. I'm monitoring progress, but for now, I'm not convinced we will get much out of it. There's so much controversy. There's so much to lose. There's so much political influence, and all that. So I'm not convinced as yet.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for your time.